All right. And let's go to research paper, general instructions. Okay. I think we're going to read it like that. All right. Any questions or anything we talked about last time? Okay. Remind me of your name?
Ashley Watson.
Ashley, okay. Does anyone else come in since I called roll that I didn't catch you coming in? Okay. All right. Any questions on the syllabus or anything we did just last time, Tuesday? Okay. All right. Research paper. You choose your topic. Anything within the scope of the course. Pre-calculus, algebra, that covers a whole lot of stuff. Lots of things to choose from. You can choose to write on a person who has contributed. Lots of them. A theory. We'll talk about several. You may know some already. A phenomenon that explained by algebra or pre-calculus. An application. How do you use this in, say, your field of study? Okay, that type of thing. Or any other such topic that you have an interest. Now, I added something in the last few years. Here's a new one. Or it can be an internet application or demonstration that you find useful for the course. So let's say we're doing graphs of quadratic functions, okay? And either we haven't gotten to it yet, or you don't understand how the book does it, or I make it more confusing, but you find a website out there, YouTube video, something like this, that says, why didn't they say that? That makes perfect sense now. So if you find an internet application, website, demonstration, YouTube video, anything that you find useful for yourself in learning pre-calculus algebra, you can write on that. And the advantage for that is, then, if I find that you've gotten excited about it, I'll add that to the content in Blackboard, so future classes, this class and future classes, can go to that same site. Now, I've put a few things, or I haven't yet, but I will put a few things out there. You can use any of those, or you can find your own, okay? So, there's another option. Now, what I'd like you to do sometime today or next week is write your name on a piece of paper. That's a pretty tough assignment, right? And write down the topic you think you'd like to write on. If you need some time to think about it, thumb through the book, that kind of stuff, fine. Search the Google or whatever you want to do, and come up with a topic you're interested in doing. When you get that, write your name and that topic on a piece of paper. Now, that's a lot of waste of paper, you might say. It may or may not be. But if you want to write something else on here, here's another option. This has nothing to do with the research paper, by the way. But I'll just give you the background. Periodically, I'll get, and it's not very frequently, but every now and then I'll get a panic phone call from someone in admissions or someone in the records office or someone in financial services or somewhere saying, this associate is in your class, the numbers in the system aren't working, do you have a better number for him, okay, or her? Well, if you want to give me your very best phone number, you can. I'm probably not going to be calling you, but it would be if something happens, that someone's desperately trying to get in touch with you. I'm not going to give your number to anyone, any other student, or anyone outside the college. It will have to be an administrator or someone here who is desperately trying to find you. It's the only person I'll give it to. If you want to give me that number, you can. Now, if that number happens to be a cell phone number, that's perfectly fine. That probably is the best bet. But if there's a chance that cell phone could battery die, run low, leave it in the car, leave it in your jacket somewhere else, run over by a truck, the number change. If any of those things could happen and you do want to do a backup number, like Mama's landline or something like that, so that we could reach you somehow, you can give me that backup number if you choose. Or if some of you happen to work and you can't have your cell phones at work and Mama's landline doesn't work at work, but you can receive incoming phone calls there, especially for emergencies, if you want to give me that number, you can. I don't care, okay? You can give me no numbers, one number, two numbers, up to three. I can't imagine anything you would need. I'd need more than three numbers. I don't really need them, but in case someone calls, You can write that on the same piece of paper just to save paper, right? So that's up to you. Okay, back to the test. Now, you'll need to find, okay, I remember you, but I don't remember your name. What was it? Huh? Justin. Is that what you said? Or Justin? Justin, I thought so. Okay. Didn't remember Jesse, but I thought there was a Justin. Okay, here we go. Right? Yeah. Okay. Good deal. All right. I think everybody who was here last time is here today, which is good. I didn't chase too many people off. Okay, and we've added a few new ones, at least 3. Very good. All right. Oh, I meant to do this before I started recording. I had it here on top, but I forgot to. Sorry, time out on this again. Are any of you getting close to graduation, as in this spring or this summer? You are, okay? Have you applied to graduate? Fantastic. The term before you expect to graduate, you need to do 2 things. Notify, do a graduation notification and a graduation application. Did you do both? Fantastic, okay. And you probably all got the emails that gave you these instructions, so check your emails and do it. But if you are planning to graduate either spring or summer, this is the time to do it. The deadline for that is February 28th, the very end of February. Now, this is another. Did I tell you about scholarships last time? Okay. Late December, well, I say late December, the last week of class in December, okay, I happened to be in the financial services office doing something, and Ms. Williams, I think it was, said, "Have you seen these?" And I said, "No, I haven't." And she handed me several of them. Now, these are December. They're no good anymore, but they're a good illustration. These are scholarships that are available out there, not just Lawson State, out there, okay? Now, some of them are specific, like cosmetology or auto repair, something. Some are specific, some are general, but they're out there, okay? Varying amounts. I see 500, 1,000, 5,000, okay? Not chunk change, okay? Now, look at this. There's about 6, some pages 5, some pages 7 per page, front and back, 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 front and back. End of one page, another front, and a few on the back. That many scholarships, the deadlines were in December. So these are no good for now, okay? But I wanted to show them as an illustration. Now, maybe December was a heavy month. I don't know. But go to the financial services office if you could use a little extra bucks, and most of you are probably independently wealthy and it doesn't matter to you. But if you could and you want to consider it, go by financial services office, see if they have a list for January. Now, here's sort of the sad news here. Deadline December 1st were all these and those and those and those and those. And finally here on whichever page that is, finally start getting those that were December 2nd and December 5th and December 9th. So it seems like a lot of them were the 1st of December. So there may have been a lot of them 1st of January if there were any. So maybe you're out of luck there too. But start checking there. And especially, they should put up February's before the 1st of February so you can apply for them. So anyway, stop by financial services office. Take advantage. It seems like the money's there. Don't let it go to waste. Okay. Sorry, I meant to do that before. But now it's on Screencast-O-Matic, so it'll be on YouTube. Okay. You won't see that, but you'll hear me. Okay. Let's see, where were we? Okay, you'll need to find at least one source, 2 or more or better, for your paper. Okay? They need to be outside sources. Now, I've already mentioned you can scan through the book and get lots of ideas for your paper, but the book cannot be the source for your paper. Yeah, the book has some great historical perspectives and things, little blurbs on different people and theories and stuff like that. But this can't be the source. You need to get out of the book into sort of the real world. All right, two more. Can I get names, please? Allison Jones. Alexis Jones. Okay. And what do you go by? Alexis. And? Allison Jones. Y'all knew y'all were going to do this too. You go by Allison? Okay. And guess what? We also have an Amber Jones. So I have 3 A Joneses in this class. So good to have you here. Anyway. Okay. Good deal. Now, I'm talking about the research paper. By the way, since you just came in, I guess I need to go over this. I should have done it for all the new people coming in. I record everything, pretty much everything, on a program called Screencast-O-Matic. And then after class, I upload it to YouTube. And then sometime when I have time, I move the YouTube video into a playlist. And then I put the link for the playlist in Blackboard. They're out there on YouTube now, but the playlist, that kind of stuff, I haven't gotten to yet. So if you can go through YouTube and find it, it's there, but I don't have it in the playlist yet. I will get it there, okay? In fact, Blackboard is basically empty right now. So folks who just come in, all of you familiar with Blackboard? I don't know how many of you are new students that never used it. Anyone never used Blackboard? Okay, all of you are familiar, okay? In Blackboard, when you get to the home page for this class, in the upper left corner, there's a series of tabs, okay? The first one, I think, is home page. See, I don't see the student side. I only see the instructor side, so I don't know where it is. But usually the second or third, somewhere near the top, is one called Content, okay? Now, under Content, it's not there yet. I will put the syllabus, which I went over last time. I've got a few corrections to make to it. I'll make those corrections and put it out there. I'll put these research paper instructions out there. They're not down there now. I have a few corrections to make, not many, but just a few. I'll put those out there. I think I know my schedule now, so now I can do my locator card. I haven't done it yet, but when I get that done, I'll put that out there. I will also put all of the PowerPoints out there on Blackboard. Each section has its own file of PowerPoints. I'll put more than we'll cover in the course, guaranteed, just in case we get further than I think. I'll put everything possible out there, okay? And as I was mentioning earlier, if I found or other students have found websites they thought might be helpful, like YouTube videos or things like this, Khan Academies, there's several things like that out there. If I've been given one or found one, I'll put that under content as well. And then, usually at the very bottom, there will be the one that's the link to the YouTube playlist. It's not there yet. As soon as I can get it done, I'll have that done. So, I wanted to let you know that but the last class, the video's out there on YouTube. I just don't have it in the link yet. I don't have the link identified yet. Okay, let's get back to this. So, your sources for your research paper. If you go to the library, it can be books, journals, articles, newspapers, anything you can find in the library, interlibrary loan, virtual library, anything that you can find there, you can use as a source, okay? Or, and this is a little dangerous, any legitimate source that you can find on the internet, okay? Now, I tell most of my classes this. I think probably the one thing that's been created, developed, produced during my lifetime that is the most incredible thing that I can think of is the internet. Okay, they didn't have it in 1951. It's all been developed while I've been alive. Incredible piece of equipment. People all over the world can use it. You're connected, you know. 2 problems with it, at least 2. One big one. At least half of the stuff on there, probably way more than half, total garbage. Okay? Second, sometimes we don't know which half. Okay, so be careful when you're using something from the internet. Make sure the best you can that it's legitimate. Okay, if you have any doubts, ask me. I can usually take a look and say, no, I'm not sure about that one, or oh yeah, that looks fine. You know, so, but you'll probably be able to tell. The textbook, though, even though it's a source for ideas, it's not an outside source for your paper. You need to get something outside the text. Okay? Paper has to be at least one word processed page of text. Okay, that contains a lot of information. Number one, I don't want any handwritten papers. Okay? In fact, I'd rather not have any typewritten paper. Who types anyway anymore? But some people might. But I'd rather have it word processed. Okay? And when I say one page of text, I'll just give you some examples. You don't have to do this, but I have a lot of students who do. They'll have some type of a header up here, which is fine. I have no objection to it. And then skip a bunch of spaces and have the title, maybe triple space in, and start typing somewhere down the page here. What's one page of text? It goes from here to the bottom of that page, and on the second sheet of paper, at least that far down on the second sheet. That's a page of text. That's to prevent you putting all sorts of stuff out there and wind up with fewer words in the text. And you wouldn't do that. Okay, I know you wouldn't. Okay, but that's what I mean by one page of text. At least one page. Now, I single space this, you get the double space. Not as much writing. But it makes it easier for me to read and easier for me to mark as well. Okay, but I do want you to use 12 pitch or 12 point, whatever you call it, font. This is what this is. I don't want any 26 points that 3 words fill the page. You say, I'm through. No, you're not. Okay. So 12 pitch. And neither do I want it so tiny it strains my eyes to read. So try to use this, okay? The font, the actual font you use is up to you as long as I can read it. I don't read hieroglyphics and Greek and Latin and Cyrillic and Old English. Don't give me any of those. Have it something standard. Times New Roman is just about all the word processing default. I use Arial here, Courier. There's a ton of them out there, okay? Whatever, if it's nice and readable. Try to keep your paper less than 2 pages, okay? Or maybe fewer than 2 pages, whatever, okay. That's not a requirement, that's just a suggestion. I don't want it to be onerous. I don't want it to be something, I have to get all this done. No. Find something you're interested in, write it up. Be sure it covers at least 1 page of text. Try to keep it less than 2. But guess what? I've had students, believe it or not, they get so interested in the topic they can't shut it down, And I don't care if you go 3 or 4 pages. I don't take off points for it being too long. Not directly, anyway. But I've also had students, or at least it appeared to me, they thought, I can't give them quality, so I'll give them quantity, and I'll really impress them. It doesn't. Okay, I've had people that just kept on going with a really lousy paper, not proofreading, not spell checking, not doing anything, but they think they'll make up for sloppiness by making it longer. You're hurting yourself, because actually when you turn in a paper, okay, and one of you have, right? No, I've received 1 paper already. It wasn't you. I'm sorry. I was thinking it might have been, but it was from someone in my 113 class. Okay. It's already turned in the term paper. Maybe a new record, okay? 1 day of class and the next day turned in the paper. But anyway, good idea too. I've had people when you turn in the paper, it's a 100-point paper, okay? And then when I start reading it, if I find errors, you start losing points. So I can hear you now. Don't read it! No, I'm going to read it, okay? And guess what? If you turn in a sloppy paper and make it a long sloppy paper, guess what? You're losing more and more and more and more points. Don't do it. Now, if you turn in a long good paper, you're not going to be losing many points at all because it's a good paper, okay? So I'll enjoy reading that, no sweat, okay? But don't try to substitute quantity for quality. Do the quality and at least this quantity, and if you want to go longer, fine, go for it. Okay. Now, you may use any standard format you choose. Most of the English classes teach MLA, Modern Language Association. Fine, I don't care. If you like it, goes with it. A lot of scientific organizations use a word processing package format called APA, American Psychological Association. They came out with an early one, and people said, boy, that's good. I'm going to use that. So it's student in one of my yesterday classes said there's a Chicago standard format or something like that a lot of people use. So there's lots of formats. I don't care which one you use. You choose and stick with it. Consistency is what I'm looking for. I'm a member of a couple of professional organizations. Seems like everyone has his own format, so sometimes they get carried away. But be consistent. For instance, if you start blocking paragraphs like I did, block all your paragraphs. Don't then on the second page start indenting the paragraphs or vice versa. Or just in the middle. Or if you start in one font, don't change the Times New Roman in the next paragraph. Why are you doing that? There's no reason. If your indentation is here, then this one is here. That's just sloppy. You're not being careful, okay? So anything like that, choose a format and go with it. Now here's another one I've seen, and I think I know the reason for it. Now, I don't see it often, but I have seen it. Say you reference the source here, okay? You, according to your format, you open the parentheses, maybe put the last name of the author, comma, date of publication, or whatever your format calls for, okay? But then down here in some later paragraph, you make another citation, and you open parentheses and put title of the article, comma, page number. Now wait a minute, okay? What are you doing? I think I know what happened. They took this source, and it was written in one format, and they formatted it like that source was formatted, okay? Then they came down here, but this one happened to be using a different format. So, but they copied that one from that. So be careful. Now I know that if you are using a book, the format for a book is going to be different from that for a journal or an art, different things. I understand that, but I'm talking about the same type of citations, but using different things. So that's what I mean. Be consistent. You choose your format, and then you stay with it. All right. Spelling, grammar, sentence structure, all those things that English instructors like to mark off. I do too. No, I don't like to. I don't like to see them. Don't do them. What you're doing is producing a product. As if I'm a client. You're producing something for me. Make it good, okay? Check these things. Just for all word processing packages, have spell check, use it. Have grammar check, use it, okay? And they'll pick up on a lot of these, okay? Also use good proofreading, okay? There's lots of good things about that. You can read up on those yourself if you haven't already had them in English class. But not just grammar. Content matters. Okay? This is a math class, and I'll just give a couple examples. You may or may not want to write on Isaac Newton. That seems to be the favorite person to write on, okay? But I've received many papers on Isaac Newton. I can almost quote his biography for you. No, just kidding. Okay, but I've actually had this. It may not have been Isaac Newton, but it was somebody that near the top when they first mentioned him, they put in parentheses. You don't have to do this. They just chose to. The year of his birth, the year of his death. And that's sort of a common thing to do. Fine. But then over on page 2, he died a different year. I thought, ooh, strange illness. No, it was, be careful. Be consistent. Pythagorean theorem. That's another one of the favorite theorems that, I've had many, many papers on. I've actually had some people state it incorrectly, okay? Be careful, pay attention, get the things right. Content does matter, okay? Now, the paper is due by the last day of class, not the last day of finals, last day that we meet as a class in April, May, whenever that happens to be. I think it's in May, okay? Not final exam week. If you turn it in then, you're losing points, okay? So, get it in before. But I highly recommend start working on it now. That's why I want you to get the topic now. So you start thinking about it. Start looking for sources. Start putting it together. You'll never have more time to work on this paper than you do right now. Within a couple of weeks, you're already going to be having quizzes, tests, maybe assignments in other classes. You're going to be bombarded with things. Get started early. Like I said, I've already gotten the paper in yesterday. Amazing. It was from my trig class. Okay. Now, this is a general thing. I've been teaching here, I can't remember if this is my 19th year or 20th year, sometime like that. Now, the first few years I didn't assign papers, but sometime or another they started making efforts on they call writing across the curriculum. So I started making these assignments. So it's been in the first, probably 15 years or so, at least, that I've been making these assignments. I've taught in the early days, we were on quarter systems, 4 quarters a year. Now we're on semesters, 3 semesters a year. I've taught every summer since I started here. And I've had anywhere, I can't remember if I've ever had as few as 4 classes, but possibly I've had up to 8 classes in a term. Now, most of the time, this would be about an average class, okay? I have some classes this term much smaller. This is my biggest class so far this term, but I've had 30s and even more than 30 at times, okay? So, if you think about that, multiply all those things together, I've seen a lot of papers. And here's the general trend. This is a generalization. I usually get my best papers in early in the term. I think I know why, because they have more time to work on them and do it. And then as the term goes on, sort of the quality fades a little bit. And toward the end of the term, I think I know the reason here too. Oh, I need a paper in this course. Turn it in, no proofing, no spell check, no grammar check, sloppy, okay? Now, I've had some real dogs at the beginning of the term. I've had some great papers turned in at the end. But the general trend is like that. So I say, get started early. So there's the stick, okay? You will lose points if it's submitted after the last day of class. Here is the carrot, okay? If you turn it in, this is what I have to update here. You turn it in the month of January, the guy who turned it in yesterday, he gets 4 bonus points. If you turn it in the month of January, you get 4 bonus points. February, you get 3. March, you get 2. April, you get 1. May, you get whatever score you make. No extra points. Anytime after the last day of class, you start losing points. So it's a scale. Get going on it early. Now, here's one thing I require. Most other instructors I know of don't require this, but I just have a thing for this. I want you to give me a single page from one of your sources. So let's say you chose 3 sources. Pick one. I don't need a page from each source. Pick a source, any source, I don't care. And then print me a single page from that source. If it's something you got from the library, take that over a book, a magazine, journal, newspaper, whatever it was, take it over to the copier, copy me a single page. I don't need the whole article, okay? Or if it's something you got off the internet, print me a single page from that source. Now, if you chose the option of writing on a YouTube video, you can't really print a page from a YouTube video. So the citation for that, the link to that video, that has to be what that is, okay? Any questions on your research paper? Sorry, I beat it to death probably, but any questions? All right, get started soon, okay? Sooner the better. All right, there's one other administrative thing we need to do before we get into math. Sorry it's taking so long. And that's the concept of safety. It's important. We need to hit it every term, okay? Now, 3 forms of safety that we think about. Can anyone think of one? Say again? Active shooter. Gracious, she goes right for the jugular, doesn't she? Yeah, I usually do that one last, but we can do it first if you want to, okay? Active shooter. Unfortunately, it has happened. I only know of one time on a community college campus. And so it's a very rare thing, but you have to be prepared, like good old Boy Scouts, right? So what do we do? Now, guess what? I'm hard of hearing, okay? I'll probably hear a gunshot, but y'all might hear it before I will, or maybe be more aware than I will because I'm up here running my yap and y'all are just sitting back. No, you're not doing that. Okay, so if you hear something, bring my attention to it. What do you think we need to do? Lock the door. Excellent. Now, I have the door unlocked so students can come in and out if they need to. So it's unlocked from the outside. So how do I lock this door? Well, there's no button here that you can press and lock the door from the inside. I have to physically go outside the door, find the key, trembling hands because we're shooting in the background. Okay, that was over dramatic. Okay. Lock the door, and y'all don't pull it too. I want to get back in and pull it too. She was thinking it, I could tell. Okay. All right, so I locked the door. But guess what? We have a back door here, don't we? Now, a couple strange things here. For some reason, security doesn't know that's a classroom. Or some people in security don't. Because a few times it'll be unlocked, but most of the time that room's locked from the outside. So if that door is open, I could be doing this, and one of you could be doing this, or I'll come do it. But if that door is open, try the knob, and if it's locked from the outside, close that door, the one to the classroom. But if it's unlocked, which it might be, it could be, what could we do? Well, can we lock this door? Well, guess what? It does have buttons on the side. But guess what? It locks from this side, but not from the outside. Don't do that. That locks us in, and he still is able to get in. Okay, how about this door? Here's a deadbolt. I don't have a key for it. Okay, so I can't lock it. That's why it has a button here. It locks from the outside if you get it out from the inside. So this is the one we want. Okay? And you close that door and then lock. If it's not, close it anyway. Lock back. But then don't just stop there. Close this door. Why? There's a big glass there, window there. He can see in. So close this door. We want him to think nobody's home. So we lock the doors. Yeah. Was there a question? Okay. Okay. We lock the doors. We turn off the lights. We get very quiet. What else have we done already? 911. Now, actually, the best move would be put in your cell phone the Lawson State Police number. Have that in there so you can quick speed out. Okay? That's the best place to call first. But if you don't have that in your cell phone, 911. Okay? You're doing that, get that done really early before he gets so he can hear. Turn off the light, we lock the doors, and then what do? We get over here. We don't want him to see anything. We want him to think this is an empty classroom. We don't want him to hear anything. We want the door to be locked, that door locked, that door locked. He not see. We don't want anything. And over here, can't shoot through concrete walls. Okay, everybody get over here, out of sight, out of the field of vision here, because he can shoot through the window. You know, if he can see you, he can shoot you. So get over there. And I say he. I guess one of the shootings somewhere, a man and wife were involved, so it could be a she, but most of the time it would have been he. Okay, that's active shooter. We stay quiet. We stay down until we know absolutely that's our campus police or the police, somebody officially that it's over with. We don't just wait till the gunfire stops. He should be saying, you know, who's next, you know. So, all right, you got your active shooter. What's another safety concern? Fire. Okay, something inside the building that could be a hazard. Okay, now let's start with we hope this will never happen. Let's just say smoke starts billowing out of the ventilation system here. We're the first people to see it. Or my computer explodes, okay? We're the first person to see it, you know, something like that, okay? So it starts in this room. What are some things we need to do? Okay, I hear people talking about it. What's that? Okay, I heard several things there. My hearing's bad, but call. Again, if you got your campus police on the speed dial, call them. Let them know what room where it is while we're getting out of here. You're absolutely right. If you don't have that, 911. Let them know where it is, what room, all that kind of stuff. Okay? So that's one thing we do. Call. You said something else, though. Oh, that's it. Okay. There's something else we need to do if we're the first to know about it. Pull alarm. Very good. Where is the alarm? Where is the closest alarm? Here we are in this corner classroom right here, second floor. This is second floor. Here we are right here. Where is the closest alarm? hallway that goes down here, then it makes a U. This big old U here is the oldest part of the building, built before the requirement to have fire alarms was even in the books. Not a single fire alarm. Don't go out in these halls looking for a fire alarm. Now, the few classrooms you see here are really not second floor, they're first floor classrooms. I call it the nursing wing. That was built more recently. I can't remember if there's fire alarms there or not. But I know that here, and that's too far away. Here, what you have here is the first floor, that's why there's nothing here, what I call the student services wing. Not really a wing, but that interior. When you go out of the door here, and take a left, go down this half flight of stairs right here, and past the restrooms is a corridor that goes across to the first floor. Same level as this, but it's the first floor. This is second, that's first. Strange, right? As soon as you go into that, there's double doors there. I think there's a fire alarm just past the doors on this wall, and I think there's one somewhere in the hall this way. I think that's the closest one right there. So somebody, at least one, you might want to take a buddy just in case, one of you, just to help out or whatever, go and pull the alarm. So if it initiates here, we call, we pull the alarm. And then we proceed where? Out of the building, okay? With a fire or a chemical spill or anything inside that's hazardous, we go out. Okay, where do we go? Oh, one more thing. I'm sorry, I forgot this. If it initiated here, especially if my computer blew up and it's caught the desk and my paper's on fire, do we just leave it burning? No, what do we do? Fire extinguisher. Now, where's the closest fire extinguisher? Any ideas? Okay. 5 feet from where I'm standing, right here. You can't get much closer than that. Right there is the closest fire extinguisher. So if it starts in this room, someone go get that fire extinguisher. If I'm not incapacitated or something, give it to me. I'll deal with the fire. Okay. If you don't get it, I'll go get it. But we got someone to. People are calling 911 or it's campus police. People are ringing the alarm, and someone's getting the fire extinguisher, and the rest of you are getting out of Dodge. Okay. Now, where do we go? We go out the door here, take a left, turn down the half flight of stairs here, then do an immediate left, go one more flight down, and then you go out of the building. Okay. Now, where do we go out of the building? Originally, they used to say, and here, by the way, is the building. This is Vesper Superhighway. There's the interstate. We're right here on the second floor in this room right here. Okay? We go out this door here, and then we head down to that parking lot there. I would say the grassy area would be fine, but they say go to the parking lot. So we'll go to the parking lot. You need to get at least 75 feet from the building, because if there's a fire, there could be an explosion. It could be blowing glass out. You want to get out of range of that. So get out of the building. Now, so we're out of the building. I can see it now. I can hear it now. Hey, the building's on fire. No more class today. I'm out of here. Is that what we do? No way. Okay? What we do is stay together as a group. Now, I'm going to be the last one to get there, because I'm fire extinguisher, do that. Or if anyone has any kind of problem, like I have a student coming up in my physical science class who's in a wheelchair. I'm helping that student out, okay, to get out safely, okay. If someone's on crutches, I'm with that last student, So I'm going to be the last one there. I'm going to carry my roll book with me. And once we get out there, you wait for me, and once we get there, I call roll. If anyone's missing, I or somebody else has to go back in the burning building trying to look for you. So if you've said, I'm heading home, but don't tell anyone, no one knows that, some of us are risking our lives trying to help save yours, and you're on the road where you're not supposed to be, or out visiting with friends or something like that. No, please stay together. Once roll's called, we'll hang together until we get word. They may say, hey, we're going to assign classes every other place. That's not really a major concern. The main thing is stay together so nobody else, the fire professionals, the fire responders, have you everyone accounted for? No, we don't have this. Well, we got to go in and look for it. You could be putting someone's life at risk. Okay. That's fire or chemical spill, anything that happened inside the building. What's another safety concern? Say again? Tornadoes, weather, any kind of weather, severe weather. If you hear the alarm, what do? We go low and interior. Now, where is low and interior for this? Okay, here we are here. Go out the door, take a left, go down the half flight of stairs, take a left, go down one complete flight. When you get there, you're almost at the lowest point in the building. So then you start looking interior. Now, the first floor is similar to this, not quite the same. Directly below here are two restrooms. Restrooms, the walls are close, lots of corners, there's your strength. The strength is in the wall, even more strength in a corner. Corners are great places to be. Restrooms may not be the greatest place to spend a couple of hours, but that's a safe place. Interior, lowest level. Okay? But one disadvantage, well, besides it's a restroom, the other disadvantage to a restroom is no emergency lighting. Because if there is severe weather, there's a real good chance power will go off. If power goes off, then restrooms are totally black. Again, not maybe the best place to spend a couple of hours. So the hallway would be next, well, it's not next best, but it has emergency lighting. Okay? Now, next to the restrooms, not as a corridor down on the first floor, it's an office, the academic dean's office. Now, most of the time it's locked because the academic dean is mostly on the Birmingham campus. But she is here occasionally, sometimes even 2 days a week. Maybe not all day, but sometimes 2 days a week. Or maybe the associate dean might be over here. He's usually not, but he could be. Or Dr. Breach. It could be somebody down there. If someone's in that room and will invite you in, or you have to come in and they say yes, then that room's pretty safe because the close walls, corners. Okay? After that, but there's no emergency lighting. After that, the hallway is probably best. Close walls, no corners, but close walls and emergency lighting. Now, if that's really crowded and stuffy or something like that, the classroom that's right there is room 160. It's developmental math classroom. Some of you may have been in that before. Mr. Holloway's classroom. That's not bad. Don't be in the center of the room. Again, near a wall, especially the interior wall. There's soil on this side. Not much that can happen here. That one could come down, but it's not likely to. But this is pretty safe. Okay, so the corners and the back walls. Okay, not in the middle of the room. If you go through the glass doors that are in the hallway there, you're in the library area. The first room on the right there is the computer room. That's smaller than the classroom, so again, a lot of corners, a lot of walls. Not a bad place to be. Okay, but probably no emergency lighting either in the classroom either. Right next to the computer room is another library room. I call it the reference room. That's where the atlases and globes and that kind of stuff is. Now, sort of a problem with that, it's got shelving there, and the shelving could fall down, so you don't want that to happen. But it's probably pretty secure, so again, corners, walls would be better. Just a little, Don't go any further in the library or any of these rooms. Why? Exterior. You don't want to be in an exterior room because tornadoes and straight line winds and thunderstorms tend to throw limbs into a building. Glass can come in, you can get hit by the limb, hit by the glass. You don't want to be there. So don't go exterior, lowest level, interior. All right. And you go down there as a group, and again, I'll be the last one down because I'll be helping make sure everybody's out. And then I'll call roll, and if you've wandered off somewhere and say, hey, I got to get home and get the dog out. You don't, okay? The worst place you could be is in the car. Don't do it. Stay together. I'll call roll. We'll listen for further word. All's clear or, whatever. Okay. So stay together. Don't wander off somewhere to visit friends or anything. So once we do that, we'll decide where we'll go on those things. Okay. Any questions on any safety issue? Okay. Sorry about that. That's done, hopefully, for the term now. Okay. I think I did this for my trig class. Yeah, I'm sure I did it because he already turned one in. Okay. Well, I thought I had opened my CD, but it's not showing up anywhere. All right. Wrong thing. Okay, this is the one. Okay. Sorry, we're so late getting started. It's trying to load. I think it'll open one of these days, but okay. Here we go, finally. Okay. Now, I think I told you all yesterday, those who were here, sections 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3 is basically a review of math that you should have already had. So, one thing to do, go back through those three sections, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, see if there's anything that say, I never had that, or may have had it, but I sure don't remember it, or I think we did it, but I never understood it. If you see anything in those three sections, bring it to me. Ask me in class. When I say, are there any questions? Ask those questions. We're starting officially with 1.4, but I'll review anything that you need reviewed. I say we're starting with 1.4. Oh, there we go. PowerPoint is pretty slow. And again, you will have these out there in Blackboard under content by name, but you'll also have them on YouTube once we cover them, because this is all being recorded. So you'll have your PowerPoints in two different ways. Okay. All right. Functions and their graphs. That's chapter 1. And by the way, if don't know how your past math books were, this book loves graphing. You're going to see graphing on just about every quiz. You're going to see graphing on just about every test. Functions and their graphs. There's a reason he put that there. He loves graphs, okay? And they do show you things. But basically, if you remember back from the syllabus, the title, the main thing they said about this course is it's the algebra of functions. So we are starting with functions. You may have mentioned functions in Math 100 a little bit. We're going into it in a lot more detail, okay? So our objectives here are to determine whether a relation between two variables are functions or not, and we'll use function notations if it is a function. We'll talk about the domains of a function, whatever that is. We'll use functions to model and solve some real-life problems. That's where the rubber meets the road. And we'll do something called difference quotients, okay? So let's start with what are functions and what are some things about their notation. All right, by the way, this is, if you got your text, around page 35, beginning of section 1.4. Many everyday phenomena involve two quantities related to each other. For instance, this class, okay? Every one of you has a birthday, right? And every one of you has a height, okay? Sometimes I say weight. I don't like to talk about weight after Christmas, okay? So height, okay? So you could relate your birthday to your height. That wouldn't be a very meaningful relationship, but it's a relationship. You have a birthday, you have a height. You could say, okay, let's plot those numbers. Now, if you were growing children, that would make a little more sense, because the older you are, you typically tend to be a little taller. It's not going to be perfect, but that tends to be. When you get to be our ages, if anything, we're shrinking. Okay, no, y'all are, I am maybe. Okay, but anytime that you have a phenomenon involving two quantities related to each other, those aren't very well related, by some rule of correspondence, that's called a relation, okay? The mathematical term for such a rule of correspondence is a relation, okay? We'll give some examples in a minute. In mathematics, equations and formulas often represent relations, but other things do too. We'll talk about those later. Here's one. I don't know if anyone really uses simple interest anymore. I know they do, but it's sort of rare nowadays. The simple interest I, capital I, interest, earned on $1,000, wish I had one to put aside, okay, for 1 year is related to the annual interest rate R of that. Now, right, today, the interest rates are pitifully low. What, 0.25% or something like that? So if you have $1,000 at, say, 0.25%, what is the interest earned after a year? 1,000 times 0.0025, that would be, is it $25 maybe? Okay, that's all you would earn on it. But the interest rate, the interest earned is related to the rate. There was a time, we don't want to go back there either, when we had really bad inflation and interest rates were like 10%, okay? It made you more money on your savings, but everything else was losing money that fast, okay? So, yeah. Now, unfortunately, probably a few of us have credit cards, maybe. Have you noticed what rates they charge? It's a lot more than 0.25%, maybe 24%, you know. And they don't always do simple interest. They do compound interest. So you can really rack up the interest because it's related to the rate by a formula such as this. So that's a relation, okay? That formula also represents a special kind of relation that matches each item in the first set, the interest rate, with exactly one item in the second set. Now, maybe interest rates and amount of interest, that may make sense to you. Let me give one that might make a little more sense to you. Let's say you're down in the bookstore, got the munchies, you know, got a little hungry between classes. So you went through and they had a bag of potato chips there on sale. Now, the guy right in front of you bought an identical, you know, he's got the identical bag of potato chips. I mean, picked it out of the shelf just like you did, okay? He goes through and they charge him $1.99. You go through and they charge you $2.99. Are you a happy camper? Probably not. Why? Because you expect that for each item, the bag of potato chips, there's only one correspondence to that. Okay? Better be the same price. Okay? If it's got the same price, it's a function. If it's not, that's just a relation. Okay? May not be a function. It's not a function. So here's the definition of a function. This is on the block on page 35 there. A function f from one set, potato chips maybe, to another set, moolah, okay, is a relation. They're all relations. It's that one thing compared to another that assigns to each element in the first set exactly one element y charge in the second set. The set A is called the domain, or the set of inputs, and of the function f, and the set B, the output, how much you're paying, that's called the range, set of outputs. Okay. Now, I can't say this for sure, but I'm pretty certain that the word function, as we're using it here, I don't think it was ever mentioned in my high school. I don't think I ever had that terminology in high school. And when I went to Georgia Tech as a freshman, there was no pre-calculus at Georgia Tech, okay, at all. You went right into Calculus 1, okay? I didn't even have pre-calculus in high school. And I can remember the professor, he was really, really good. He was hard, but he was really good. And I remember he, I think, figured a lot of us didn't have any concept of function. And he did this, and it's I found it interesting. And I've changed it a little bit to relate to things. He said a function is like, he called it a black box, okay? Ooh, let me make it black, okay? Well, I'll make it dark purple, okay? All right, here's the box. Okay, sort of. Here you have your input. You feed into the box. Here you have the crank. You do whatever the box does. And here you have the output. What goes in here are your inputs. Interest rates. Bags of potato chips. Whatever it happens to be. The input variable goes in here. You turn the crank, operate the function. It manipulates, it does whatever it does, and it spits out the output. That's part of the range. Domain goes in, range comes out. Okay? You put in interest rate, you get out amount of interest earned, dollars earned. You put in a bag of potato chip, what comes out of your wallet is the money that it costs for that bag of potato chips. Okay? Now, when he did this, I had a flashback that stuck with me forever, okay? I grew up on a farm, okay? And we weren't a big farm. We ate well, though. I guarantee you that. Didn't have a lot of money, but we ate well. We raised our own vegetables. We raised our own eggs and chickens and beef and pork. You know, we bought a few things like bread and other things. But it was a pretty good place to grow up. And I can remember in the wintertime, coldest part of the year is when we had the hog killing, okay? That's when they killed the hogs, you know, the pigs provide the pork for the year. And that was a pretty big production, sort of fun for a kid too. So they would do all the things. I won't go into all of it. Scald them, you know, skin them, and do all the things they did. But then they get the meat all cut up and big chunks of it in the house. My father would be there with the big knife, and he would cut the pork roast or the pork chops or the whatever the other pieces, but there will always be a few straggly pieces that would be cut off, trimmings, you might say. He'd put those into a big pile. And that pile would grow as he's cutting things, you know, and doing various things. And then at the end, when everything else is packaged and done, the pile of trimmings is there. And then we pull out the sausage grinder. And his picture reminded me of the sausage grinder, okay? Because what we would do, set it up on the tabletop, and that was my job. That's why I remembered it so well. I got to turn the crank, okay? And what they would do, they would put into it the pork scraps, this little lean pieces of meat, and, you know, maybe a little bit of gristle, other things, the things that weren't useful anywhere else. Put those in. Put in the spices, the sage, the other whatever spices, hot pepper, whatever it was we wanted into it. I would turn the crank and out would come sausage. So the input was the pieces, the spices, the peppers and that. What came out was sausage. Okay? Input, output. The function was the sausage grinder. Now, that may make no sense to any of you, but to me, it made functions make sense. All right? Now, there's several ways that we can represent a function. Here is one. This is called a mapping. Okay? We'll see several of them. This is not the most common, but it is one that sort of shows it pretty well. To understand this definition, look at this function below. The function takes numbers from here. What would we call this? The what? Domain, exactly, the inputs. And maps them onto here. What would we call this? The range, okay? Now, in here, the time of day is our domain. And what we've done, we hung a big thermometer out there on the tree, okay? And when every hour clicks by, I ask you to look out there and give me the temperature, right? Read it off the thermometer. So at 1 o'clock we'll do this, at 2 o'clock we'll do it, at 3 o'clock we'll do it, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 6 o'clock. That's the domain for our function here. That's all of it, folks. Those 5 hours, 6 hours, okay? Now, as you're reading those temperatures, now why are you reading them in Celsius? I don't know, but yeah, we're being scientists on that, okay? Reading them in Celsius. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it was 9 degrees Celsius, which would be, what would that be? Maybe about 40 degrees. Not here, probably, but yeah, about 40 degrees. It could be this time of year, okay? And then at 2 o'clock, it was 13 degrees Celsius. At 3 o'clock, it was 15. At 4 o'clock, it was still 15. You know, it got up, and now it's beginning to cool. At 5 o'clock, it was down to 12. At 6 o'clock, it's 10. That's pretty reasonable, right? Gets warmer in the afternoon and cooler in the evening, okay? Now, we didn't use all the possible temperatures over here. We used all the things here, but we had a lot of temperatures it could have been. Now, what's one thing you notice there? Anything a little strange? Okay, 3 and 4 o'clock had produced the same temperature. So is that a function? Yes, because at any time of day, how many temperatures are there? Read the thermometer. How many temperatures do you see? One. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, there's only one temperature. At 2 o'clock, there's only one. At 3 and 4 o'clock, it's the same temperature, but there's only one here. Now, sure, you can have multiple inputs giving the same output, but you can't have multiple outputs from the same input. These would be the same. This would be the we'll leave it like this. Okay, so that's an example of a function. What you couldn't have is 3 o'clock, a 15, and a 14. Can't happen. That wouldn't be a function. Okay? But 3 and 4 o'clock both being 15, that's perfectly fine. Notice, input, time of day, output temperature. Okay, another way we can express a function. A set of ordered pairs. Now, we won't use this terminology much, but I'm going to introduce it to you. These really only work well with what they call finite sets or discrete data. Those are different ways of saying the same thing. This is the same thing we just had. 1 o'clock, it was 9 degrees. 2 o'clock, it was 13 degrees. 3 o'clock, 15. 4 o'clock, 15. Yeah. It doesn't have the degree sign. It doesn't have the time sign, but that's the same thing. That's a function. A set is the curlicue, you call them braces, and then the ordered pairs are within parentheses. Okay? That's another way to express a function. Now, on the diagram, you can't have two different arrows leaving from the same value. On this one, how you tell when you have sets of ordered pairs, look for if you see the first number repeat itself. If you see the first number repeat itself with a different second number, not a function. But if you only see the first number, even though the second number may repeat itself, but the first one never repeats itself, that could be a function. It is a function. Okay? Now, hopefully what I've been saying, here are some characteristics of a function from set A to set B. Set A we would call what? Domain. Set B the range. Very good. Okay? We could call them input and output too. Okay. Each element of A must be matched with the element in B. And we had that on that last page, remember? There were all those temperatures there. Every time there was some temperature. You don't look out there and see no temperature. If you do, well, maybe we had a nuclear explosion or something. You're dead anyway. No, I'm sorry. We didn't say that. Okay. So, each element in A must be matched with an element in B. Okay? Some elements in B may not be matched with an element in A. We had a lot of temperatures that weren't there. It will not get to be 93 degrees Fahrenheit today, so don't even look for it. Okay? But it is a possible value in your output. Okay? 2 or more elements in A may be matched with the same in B. We saw that. 2 and 3 o'clock, or 3 and 4 o'clock, whatever it was both matched to 15. But an element in A, the domain, cannot be matched with 2 different elements in B. Right? You can't have the first value listed twice with different answers. That's what is the key that you don't have a function. Okay. We're getting close, aren't we? Now, I mentioned there's several ways to express a function, represent a function. Here are the 4 ways. I can say it. Your height, your birth dates, and your height. There's a function, not a very meaningful function. I can verbally describe that. Verbally, by a sentence, describes how the input variable is related to the output variable. We can do it numerically by a table or a set of ordered pairs. They do the same thing. Y'all did probably T-tables or something like that somewhere in your past where you match X and Y, X and Y. Yeah, that's setting it up. okay, we haven't done that one, but guess what? The book loves that one. We can do it graphically. We'll see examples of that next time. Or we can do it, if it works, an equation. I is equal to 1,000R, okay? Or something like that. Algebraically writing it as an equation. Okay. I'm afraid we are pretty close to done, aren't we? Okay. Let me see how far we got. Okay, we'll start right there next time. Okay. Now, let's see if we got far enough for any homework exercises. We hope, right? Okay, let's see. Boy, long section. I think you can do any of the odds. 5, do 7, do 9. We'll stop there. 5, 7, and 9. That's on page 44. Now, why do I give odd number exercises for homework? 2 reasons. Say again? The answers of the odds are in the back of the book. But what's more than that, when you see these exercises in this text, at the top when it says 1.4 exercises that in my book is red, then the very next thing says, see calcchat.com for tutorial help and worked out solutions for the odd number exercises. Without having WebAssign or buying anything else, you have all the help you need right here. So odd number exercise, if you don't know how they got the answer in the back of the book, go to calccheck.com. It's free. 5, 7, and 9. We didn't get very far today. We'll get a lot more next time. I promise you. Don't get mad at me because I didn't give you much homework tonight. Okay. Yeah. No, there's no, to use that calccheck.com, you don't need it. Now, if you want to use WebAssign or something like that, I can find out, get a code for you, but basically, you got, oh, look at this, already a paper topic. Good deal. Okay. All right, excellent. Should have asked, were there any questions?
So
you don't have to. I don't require you to have that. If you want it, I can give you the.
I have one.
You do, okay, yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go on and shut down.